Welcome to yet another episode of Chai in the Bay, where we are trying to unpack modern life.
I'm Manisha, here with my long-term besties and co-hosts Shipra and Deepa.
So settle in for a cozy conversation while the chai warms your hands and hearts. So, do you ladies know that this is tax season? Okay, I know about this because that's what my husband does on weekends. And I have a confession to make. I have never actually filed taxes in USA. Have any of you filed taxes in USA?
Not even in India.
Only last year. I'm also similar to you, but last year I was like, had the same thing. I mean, how come I never filed myself and took some interest and showed support?
I show support by making chai.
You showed support. But don't you think, we are clearly we are the modern women, we are earners, we are aware of, we have the financial awareness and understanding, and yet somehow I feel that we could be playing a little bit more active role in the finances of our household. So I thought this is something that is worth talking, and we explore who's the CFO of your household.
Yeah, we should. But I will say this is a tricky topic because the three of us in our 10-year friendship have actually never talked about this.
That is true.
I mean, if you see a trend, women in general, I find that we don't discuss finances, especially our own finances. Men, on the other hand,
They only discuss
they only
finances.
talk about finances. Well, they don't only talk about, but they talk about finances. They talk about how they're saving, how they're investing, but it never comes up for women. That is so strange. Now, I don't know if it's just us Indian women, but
I would agree
I don't
with
know.
that. Deepa,
No, same here. I think we have so many other numbers we talk about. The finance numbers don't come in the picture.
I think it's really strange because even though we are again, our generation, we are that generation of women who have started earning, and we feel that this is something we should do, we should contribute, take an equal role, a partnership, but when it comes to managing the finances, we still don't do as much.
But I do want to clarify, yes, I'm not an actively, tax filing person on a yearly basis, but that doesn't mean to say that I don't play an equal role in managing finances. You know what I mean? The way I consider my household is we have, me and my husband are co-CFOs.
You have two CFOs, okay?
how's that going for you?
Yeah, just it's going pretty well for something that's not intentionally defined. Hey, this is what organically certain
awesome.
things are in my purview, certain things are in my husband's.
That's so interesting because for me it's been the opposite. Like I grew up seeing both my parents were working, so I saw that both parents work, and yet the financial side of the house was more my father's purview than my mother's. And I think that sort of I don't think it was intentionally done this way, but that was sort of ingrained in me, and that's what I picked up. So even though even before marriage, when I was earning, my dad was taking care of the finances. Like, of course, I had the control that I had because I was living independently. But as soon as I got married, I sort of handed it all over, from my dad to my husband. Now you deal with it.
Deal with it.
That's your responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, that's how historically it has been, right? Like women usually play more active role on like a daily expense management rather than long-term finance management or assets management, right? So I'm not surprised.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about who pays the bills in your household?
I just swipe the credit card. So I just get this sort of alert from my husband. Okay, this.
You need to
Be
pay
careful.
XYZ amount.
Just be careful when you're going out shopping for this one. Be careful, don't overspend. Then I know, okay, I need to limit it. But otherwise, I have no budget, I've not paid any bill.
You've not paid any
I
bill.
have not worried about. I've worried about it, but I have not really sort of. My
Interesting.
husband has taken care of managing everything.
Yeah.
Interesting. How about you?
I think to a very large extent, my husband does that. I would say. Some things I have started doing it, some credit card bills, for example. But yes, kids' business, I do it. So it varies, but then primarily I would acknowledge that it is him.
Interesting. Mine, some things are you order set payment for, right? So those are fine. But certain things, some of my kids' classes are like on a class by basis. So I am the one who tracks how many classes they went, and so I take care of the payments, right?
Yeah.
So some of the ones like whether it is some managing some of the property tax, things like that, those are my husband. I don't know how we arrived at this
Arrangement.
but this
Organic arrangement.
So the everyday sort of expenses you take care of, but the bigger sort of longer term.
no, even
stuff
every day,
is
as in
his.
like shopping, grocery shopping will be whoever does, right? So it's not like I would say I'm every day taking care, but I'm
No,
saying
but
some of
grocery
the
shopping
monthly.
is on the credit card. Like you're not paying cash. So
No, we are not, but I'm saying whoever. So it's not just me, but I'm saying some of the
expenses
monthly
she takes care of.
expenses.
Some he
Oh,
does.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Who does grocery shopping in your household?
both of us.
Oh, both of you do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Same for us.
Either we go
no,
together.
I'm
or
the
we-
only one.
You're the only one doing grocery
anything
shopping.
outside the house.
So you
is
have a
all
good
me.
arrangement. You are the spender. He's
He's the manager.
the manager.
He's not happy about it. Like he would want me. Like I think we worry about. He worries about the fact that I don't know anything, and
Yeah.
I'm like ashamed to admit this. I genuinely don't know anything.
Yeah.
So he's teaching me now of okay. You need to practice. You need to
Yeah.
know where things are. You need to know where everything is.
One thing I did
how things are done.
Recent, because I was like that as well. Like I was very happy to relinquish all of that responsibility and charge to him. But then I don't know, somewhere we realized that is a very bad thing, right? Like I should be aware of some of those things.
Yeah.
So like for example with the passwords, I did not even know our bank passwords, etc. and anything. And so finally I sat down one day and I was like, yeah, this is something I really have to understand. I should be able to see, what my bank balance is, what my passwords are, etc. So I consciously spend some time making myself
That's
aware
why
of
we
it
have
and
one
keeping track of it.
One password. As like everything is like. So no, I think that is true. It is absolutely important, and I realize that it is only to my own detriment that me not knowing these things is holding me back, right? But I feel like in my everyday life, I'm taking care of so many other things that this is not one more added responsibility I want to take. Yeah, right. And then it's the time, right? Like if like I think your division of responsibility is great because then you're like, okay, yeah, this kind of expenses you're taking care of, this kind of mine. I think we will have to come to that arrangement, which we haven't yet. And otherwise we'll be both trying to make that call and we will not be happy about it.
No, but even when you split the responsibility, there are a couple of things that comes into it, like a need for communication, right? Like if both are taking decisions and like bigger decisions, of course, both align on, take together, then act on it. But sometimes there are time-sensitive decisions, right? And let's say they're not super big on scale. I mean, we are empowered to do our own decisions.
Yeah.
But it is important to bring it back and communicate that without forgetting.
That is a good
Otherwise, nobody knows what's going to happen, or something is sitting in some account somewhere. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is crucially important. Same thing on though I'm saying organically we divided. Sometimes I do feel guilty that probably I should do like a role shifting and take his on my plate sometime. Otherwise, I'm like slowly away from those activities, right? Only he's privy to it. So definitely that takes a conscious step to do it.
But for me, I feel like I will forget. So, he's tried to show me multiple times how to, go and look at the bill, how to transfer money sometimes, bank to bank transfer. Like I've done those things. Like I've had my training sessions, so to speak. But because I don't do it on a regular basis, like if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember it. Like,
But don't you think that's where it's a vicious loop, because you're not doing it, you cannot remember, and so next time around, because of that steep learning curve, then you don't pick it up next time.
Yeah, it's probably also the one of the many reasons that is like, I don't think I want to do this.
What about okay, so there are the day-to-day kind of things like grocery shopping, paying the bills, subscriptions, etc. What about long-term? You started mentioning about long-term decisions, or decisions that impact your family long-term, like your investment decisions, your big purchase decisions like your house, car, something like that, college savings, funds, etc. How do you manage that? Is there a more shared responsibility, or at least decision making?
It is always a shared decision making, but either one of us may bring it to the table, because something might have influenced that thought.
Yeah.
So, for example, last year, I think there were heavy winds and trees were falling. That kind of influenced thinking about insurance for the house and stuff. So, my husband usually takes care of the house property tax. So he was like more thinking about that and bringing to the table, hey, what shall we do? Things like that, right? It depends. So, whoever has some cause, whether it is about, hey, how is the housing market doing and things like that. But one thing is important, that we stay on top of the news. That is what is sometimes key, because on that note, I try to stay on top of housing price trends, stock price trends, things like that. So when we bring those conversations, we are able to talk about pros and cons,
share and
align something.
Ideas, thoughts.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, so something similar as well. So all the big long-term decisions that we make, big investment, we always discuss those things out, explore pros and cons together, do calculations together, like, refinancing the house. When should we do it? What are the implications? Kind of walk through each scenario and what will be the implications of that. And we take decisions together on that. Similarly, I've also started playing a more active role in our investment strategy a little bit. I've gotten interested in stocks, etc., or taught myself, gradually about this thing. So on a daily basis, we discuss, what is going on with the market. Last year, he even let me make some investments, which I will not talk about what happened to those.
I'm going to call you out on this. You said he let me make investments. Why do you say that? Like,
because he's been the one primarily doing all of this. So this has been like his forte. And even though he discusses with me, and thank goodness, he's not doing things behind my back for sure. I appreciate that. Like, even though he for somebody, it's very easy to say that, hey, you don't understand these things, so why even discuss it with you? Why even bring it to the table, right? Yeah. It's very easy when we don't show the interest. Our partners can, not because they don't want to, but because they think that, you don't even know about this stuff. So what's the point of bringing it to the table? You can easily put it aside. But, if they're not doing it, if they are pulling you in, then I think it is on us to then lean in and start showing that interest, start educating ourselves. So that's what I do as well, right? Like with the stocks, etc. Now I try to keep up with everything that is happening in the market, so that we can again discuss it together, exchange ideas, brainstorm, and then decide next steps.
For us also, we make decisions together. We are both empowered, or like we do tend to bring questions and ideas and thoughts. Both of us do, but the actual research of, is this the right thing? We'll have the discussion, we'll make the decisions together, but the actual execution of that decision will mostly be him.
Yeah.
Right. So, because I think it comes down to, because he knows what our budgets are and, how much leeway we have, whether it's, especially if it's a big purchase, like we sort of try to fix up the house a little bit. Like, my laundry list is a lot, but he's like, look, this is what we can do in the amount of money we can spend on this. It's like, okay, now let's prioritize based on what we absolutely need to do, right? So I think it's, in that way, there is certainly partnership. And I also agree with what you said is, he does want me to learn. He does want me to be included and understand why we're making decisions we're making, and where everything is.
One thing I would say, right, like irrespective of how the execution is set up in every household, I think what is key is that both the party know what are all the things, like what are all the expenses, what are all the investments, where are they, placed,
Awareness.
and also like have either most of these things would have a secondary owner or nominee, right? Something like to be in place
Sure.
as a backup or a fail safe.
Yeah,
It should be there. That's at the
absolutely.
minimum. That much every woman should be doing it.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, God forbid if you are in a situation where your husband, you have to take some action, and your your spouse is not easily available, and you have to take that action, then you should at least be in a position to take that action.
For sure.
Right then and there. Cool. So, let's talk about, since we are obviously talking a lot about our spouses and our husbands, how do you see this relationship when it comes to managing the money, the finances? From listening to both of you, it seems to me that you are also fortunate like me in that your spouse, your partner wants you to lean in, they want you to be aware, they want you to play an active role. But at the same time, I don't know if that is the story for every household. I think there is still a little bit of social conditioning here that comes into play, that traditionally men are the caretaker or the decision maker, and this is not something that women have to deal with or have to indulge themselves in.
For sure. There are many women in that situation where they don't feel like they have control. I mean, I can tell you in my own friend group, close circle, there are, my friends have that situation, right? It's unfortunate. And I think that at least a couple of them, it has driven them to go out and work. And, they were essentially, if I think about it, when they were feeling that sort of excluded, they were not earning, they were not contributing to the household income. And I think that contributed to the fact that they didn't feel empowered to go ask these questions or ask for that that position in the family. And one of them did go out and start earning and said, I need my own control, I need my own independence. I mean, yes, big stuff and kid stuff and all, that's fine, you take care of, but when it comes to me, I don't want to be asking you for money.
But this is an interesting aspect. So if let's say you weren't earning, so maybe because you are earning, at some level you feel empowered, and at some level you feel that it is my right to ask questions, to understand the decision making, to contribute, etc. But if you weren't doing it at some level, then you will feel less assertive, less empowered about contributing or playing a more active role.
I think so. I mean, at this point, like, I'm in between jobs, right? So even though I'm trying to set up stuff on my own, but I'm still at a point where I'm not actively contributing to the household income as I was. And that does, like, it's not like my family is making me feel like this. Like, my husband is not making me feel like this, but it is just ingrained in me that I'm not contributing. So I don't want to spend money on myself because I'm not contributing.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I think that it goes back to, just the way we've been brought up, just the way we've culturally. Again, nobody teaches you these things. It's just signals you pick up, from the movies you watch, from, the shows that are out there, from the situation you are, you see your relatives, you see family, friends, you see things happening around you, and you pick up those signals. And as much as I don't want to be, like, I know logically, I know this is like stupid for me to feel like this, but yeah, it plays a part in my role. I have to actively push that sound down to not feel like that. And
no, absolutely, I've observed that too in my friend circle. It's decision fatigue. we women make so many decisions on a daily basis. So if somebody is taking a more active role, we are very easily, oh, okay, fine. It's another thing. I'm not, yeah. So that is where another thing comes. And last but not least, this is what I think going in my mind sometimes is the financial literacy part. It is, like you said, Manisha, it's not part of our education system. Unless you go do finance or commerce in your bachelor's or something, this is not even something that comes in your school setup, or your family is not actively training you. They may train you to cook.
It was not
Nobody trains you to how to make investment decisions, how to do budgeting, etc.
How do you, what kind of risk? How do you even say what kind of risk is acceptable, right?
Yes.
Like things like that. Nobody teaches you. So there is one, actually, I was watching some episode, and I came to know 80-20. There are rules like that. Oh, if you have total income, 20% goes to. I didn't know all that. I mean, we do make decisions. We have our own, but there are formulas exist outside.
Exactly.
There's no formal education around.
There's no education.
Exactly.
There was, I think it. But I also want to say that this is more our generation. I kind of feel that added responsibility for the next generation to make sure they are not repeating the mistakes that I have made.
Sure.
And probably our generation has made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I have a different worry altogether for next generation.
Oh.
It's like, I'm pretty sure we had similar, upbringing in terms of, somewhat humble, and we knew the value of the money growing up. It's not like somebody had to take effort to teach us. It's the lifestyle that we had. It's not like we splurged all the time, right?
Yeah.
But now,
For sure, no debt kind of a culture, right? I mean, it's not good thing to live your life completely on debt or try to encourage.
now you need credit score in order to do anything. So I feel sometimes responsible for the next generation that, hey, how do I teach them, the value of money, financial frugality,
Yeah.
And so that's a conscious effort actually in my
Yes.
household.
Yeah. But I noticed that I don't know how it was with my husband's sister, but I feel like my husband did have that sort of training from his parents, again,
really?
organically. And I see him sort of provide that to the kids very organically. When my kids were very, very young, he started them off with, okay, this is the money you have. Now you can choose, spend it however you want, but this is it, right? Like you can choose to save it and then, add on to it and buy something good, or you can spend it now. And
Do you guys do allowances for kids? Is that-
not allowances,
How do they earn money?
I mean,
They earn their own money.
my older one started doing business fairs very, very early. So that was his first
So
paycheck.
he's making his own money.
That was his first paycheck. And then, you meet people, there's gift cards. You meet relatives, you get
Money.
paid. My kids both wanted us to pay them for chores. I drew a very strong line on that. I was like, you're not getting paid to do household work.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly.
If I don't get paid, you don't get paid.
What about you? Are you the allowance?
So more than allowance, it's more about budget. Because I whenever they want to spend money for buying food or something essential, when they are in school, suddenly hungry, things like that. So I don't set a bound. Hey, this is the maximum allowance you get, or something like that. But it's on a need basis. But what I instill in them is sort of having that kind of budget or have some control.
Yeah.
So they are aware, and because I've had one too many times this week going to the vending machine, I'm not going to. So that kind of awareness, so they can step back themselves.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, same thing. So definitely never. I somehow was also not like an allowance kind of a parent. We never did that for kids, and also not paying them for chores also, because like, why should I pay you for chores? This is something you should just not.
This is
do.
you being part of the family.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's what you're
This
supposed
is
to
your
do.
home as well. But yeah, same thing. Just like helping them be more aware of their expenditures, knowing where to draw a line, understanding why they must spend, where should they spend, etc. Same thing when my son left for college. That was one of the times we had to again emphasize, because at least here with us, physically or in proximity, you can keep an eye on what is going on and intervene and guide and advise. But when kids are in college, you're not there on a day-to-day basis, so helping them determine how should they make decisions is very important, right? So it was the same lesson that just know what you're spending and have a budget in mind, because when you have a budget, when you know that there is a limit, there's a fixed amount, you make decisions accordingly. When you know that there is no fixed limit, then you just go on spending because you think you don't know that
you just swipe the credit card.
You just swipe the credit card, right? Yeah. But whatever that limit is, you decide what that limit is. It doesn't have to come from me. You choose a limit, but know that there is a limit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I feel like these days, I don't know about you both, like growing up, right? We purchased only on certain occasions. For example, Diwali was a huge festival. You buy dresses, right? Or when you go to school opening time, then you buy uniform, certain things, right? So, but now we have online purchase, things like that. It's Diwali every week.
So I'm still not doing that.
For
so
sure.
I'm a terrible shopper in that way. I still do only when I need something, I'm going to buy it. Without need, I cannot
so
purchase.
good.
I was going to say the same thing, which is in helping kids understand. In addition to budget, that's the thing I'm doing. Needs versus wants. Sometimes if you want this, but if it is not needed now, there is a sale coming up in this period of time. Let's wait for it, right? I mean, it's not like we cannot buy now or we can't afford to get it immediately, but that being able to separate it out. Do I need
such
it?
another thing that my husband is really good at teaching, I'm not so much, is quality over quantity. I think, what turns me, we as a family are becoming a little bit more aware of how much waste we are producing, right? So we're trying not to buy too many things that are going to go bad in, 3 days. Instead, buy one thing that's going to last you longer. It gets boring. I'll be the first to admit it. But I see the value in that because, I mean, even if you look at birthday parties, right? Like younger kids especially, they want 10 things. They'll be happy only if their goodie bag has 10 things. There'll be 10 crappiest things that will break in 2 seconds, but they want the 10 things. And if you give them one thing which is like good quality, then they're like, oh, that's it.
Right. So I think from this discussion, it is clear that while as women, we have made a lot of strides in terms of being the equal earners or the people who take on the household responsibilities of, doing the grocery shopping, paying the bills, teaching our kids the good financial literacy, etc. But when it comes to making some long-term financial decisions, there is still a bit of a ways to go. And that's where we can take a more active role in taking on some of those responsibilities. Because at the end of the day, it is not about control. It's about clarity. It's about security. It's about partnership. And it's about agency.
Absolutely. And on that note, it's time for our fun little segment called Chai Shots, where you answer fast and don't think and don't backtrack.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So, while grocery shopping, which version of you shows up most often? I'll give you options, you tell me. List following, focused and efficient. List, treats, detours. No list, only vibes.
It's the first one for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I would say the second one, list, but detours as well.
okay. That's not bad. Okay, both of you are online shopping and you see an offer for free shipping, but it's only after $75.
Spend.
Okay. Will you add random items to qualify, or will you pay the shipping and then be very mad?
It depends. If I'm anyway going to buy that, then I'll probably, if there is useful things, I'll probably make it free.
Yeah, I would say so too. Like, the free shipping.
Free shipping, yes. Free shipping all the way. Yes. Okay. Before making a big purchase, what do you usually do? Will you research, read reviews, ask friends? Will you check one online review and decide? Or will you just trust your instincts and go for it?
Depends on how badly I want it. It's not lies we tell to ourselves.
So if Shipra wants it, she shows one good review and that's it.
It's confirmation bias for her.
For me, it's the first one.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. I assign the task of researching to my husband, who's very good at it. So I'm like, you do the research, I will buy it. Okay. How do you usually feel about keeping receipts or order confirmations? Are you organized and filed? Do you take screenshots and then forget about them, or do you delete immediately? You don't care.
That's when it's a combination, right? I don't keep all the receipts. It's much noisy. And some of them we go paperless. But like sometimes, for example, if they have discounts or whatever, I keep around. Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Based on the situation.
Yeah, I mostly keep them around for some time and then I discard them.
Yeah.
I forget to discard them also.
Yeah.
At least that's what my intent is.
I keep them till I'm established I cannot return this anymore. Then I do. Okay. When you see something cute but unnecessary, what happens in your head? Okay, I'll tell you 3 dialogues that can pop in your head. Do I really need this? It's small. It's fine. It's calling me.
I think I have overcome the cuteness part. So
I will have a different dialogue, I think.
What
which you didn't cover. Like, oh, this is useful and this is at a great price. I'm gonna get it.
but useful things do not come at great prices. Useful things come at exorbitant prices.
No, she's found her Costco love.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we wrap up this week's Chai Shots, our short, slightly chaotic, rapid fire round. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, who is the CFO of your family and how is it working for you? Please do tell us. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another episode of Chai in the Bay. Please do follow and subscribe us and let's keep the community growing. Thank you so much.